There are places in this country that nobody talks about. Not because nothing happened there, but because the people who know what happened, the ones who were there, they made a decision, quietly, without discussing it, to simply never say the words out loud again. Harlan County, Kentucky has a lot of those places. The house on Miller's Creek is one of them. It sat at the end of a dirt road off Route 119, a two-story farmhouse, white clapboard siding gone gray with age, a front porch that tilted 2 degrees to the left, and a basement that, according to the county records, did not exist. The house had been in the Garner family for 61 years, 3 generations, and then, in the winter of 2019, the last living Garner, an 83-year-old woman named Edith, died in a hospital in Lexington without ever returning to it. She left it to her nephew, a man named Tom. Tom had never been to Harlan County. He had never met Edith. He did not know why she left him the house. He did not know what was in the basement that the county pretended wasn't there. He found out. This is his story, and I have to warn you, it does not end the way you think it will. It does not end the way anyone thinks these stories end. Because the thing about the house on Miller's Creek is that it doesn't let go. Not really. Not ever. Tom Garner was 34 years old, recently divorced, and working a job in Cincinnati that he described to people as fine, which is the way people describe jobs they hate when they're too tired to explain why. When the letter from the attorney arrived, he read it 3 times. A house, land, his, no strings attached according to the letter, no explanation as to why Edith had chosen him. He called his friend Danny that night. "You're gonna go, aren't you?" Danny said. It wasn't a question. "It's a free house," Tom said. "In Harlan County. It's still a free house." Danny went quiet. Then, "Tom, I've got family from down that way. My grandmother used to talk about Miller's Creek. She called it the dead stretch, said the water there runs the wrong direction." Tom laughed. He shouldn't have. He drove down on a Tuesday in March, 3 weeks after receiving the letter. The drive from Cincinnati takes about 3 hours. The last 30 minutes felt longer than the first 2.5. The roads got narrower. The trees pressed closer. The GPS lost signal 8 miles from the house and never recovered. He found it by memory of the attorney's hand-drawn map, and when he pulled up the dirt road and saw it through the windshield for the first time, the gray clapboard, the tilted porch, the windows dark as closed eyes, he sat in his car for a full 4 minutes before getting out. He told himself it was because he was tired from the drive. The key the attorney had given him was old, brass, heavy, with a long barrel. It fit the front door lock perfectly. The door opened without resistance. The first thing Tom noticed was the smell. Not bad exactly. Something like old paper and iron, and something underneath both of those that he couldn't name. Something faintly metallic. The second thing he noticed was that every clock in the house had stopped. There were 4 of them. A grandfather clock in the hallway, a kitchen wall clock, a small mantel clock in the living room, and an alarm clock in the upstairs bedroom. All 4 had stopped at 3:14. The third thing he noticed was the door at the end of the kitchen. It was different from the other doors in the house. The other doors were wood, painted white, original to the house, old brass handles. This door was steel, gray, unpainted, with a padlock through a hasp, new. The padlock looked new, the kind you'd buy at a hardware store the week before. There was a piece of masking tape above the hasp, written on it in black marker in the careful handwriting of an old woman, "Not yet." Almost. He hadn't touched it. He hadn't been near it. The handwriting was the same. Tom told me he stood in that kitchen for 10 minutes without moving, just staring at those 2 words. Not yet. Almost. He's not the kind of man who frightens easily. He grew up in a rough part of Cincinnati.
He'd been through a divorce, a layoff, a car accident that broke his collarbone in 2 places. He was not a man who's scared. But standing in that kitchen, he felt something he described to me later as, and I'm using his exact words here, like the house knew I was there, like it had been waiting, and it was pleased. He almost left then. He didn't, because that's not the kind of man Tom is either. He got in his car and drove the 8 miles to the nearest town, a place called Bledsoe, and found a diner and drank 2 cups of bad coffee and thought about what to do. That's where he met Ruth.
Ruth Combs was 71 years old and had lived in Bledsoe her entire life. She worked the morning shift at the diner 3 days a week because, as she told Tom without being asked, sitting at home made her feel like she was already dead. She recognized him, not him specifically, but what he was. "You're the one staying out at the Garner place," she said, not a question. Tom asked how she knew. "You've got the look," she said. "Everyone who goes out there gets the look after the first night, like you've been told a secret you didn't want." Tom showed her a photo he'd taken of the masking tape on his phone. Ruth looked at it for a long time without speaking. "Edith used to change that tape every few months," Ruth said finally. "I asked her once what it meant. She said the house had a schedule, said it moved towards something, and the tape was how she tracked it." "Moved toward what?" Tom asked. Ruth refilled his coffee without answering right away. Then, "She never said, but I'll tell you what I know. 3 families lived in that house before the Garners. The Millers, the ones the creek's named after, built it in 1887. They were gone by 1901, left everything. Furniture, clothes, food on the table, just gone. The Beauchamps family moved in 1923. They lasted 8 years. The father burned the barn down one night and then walked into the creek and didn't come back up. Wife and kids left the next morning. The Hendersons after that, 1 year. The youngest boy started talking to something in the basement, something that talked back. They left in winter, no coats, no shoes. Sound familiar?" Tom said it did. "Edith Garner was the only one who lasted, 61 years. You know why?" Tom didn't. "Because she made a deal," Ruth said. "She said it the way you'd state a fact about the weather. Plain, final. I don't know what the deal was. She never told me exactly. But she used to say, she said the house had a hunger, and she'd found a way to feed it that didn't cost her too much. And the tape was how she kept track of the arrangement." "What happens when it says it's time?" Tom asked. Ruth looked at him. Her eyes were very calm. "I'd go back and get your things, and I'd leave before dark." Tom drove back to the house. He should have listened to Ruth. He found his overnight bag at the bottom of the stairs, packed, neat, every item folded and placed back exactly as it had been when he'd first packed it in Cincinnati. The bag had been upstairs, in the bedroom. He had not brought it downstairs. He stood in the hallway and looked at it for a long time. Then he took out his phone and called Rachel. Rachel was his younger sister, the only family he was close to. She lived in Louisville, 2 hours north. He answered on the second ring. He told her everything. The clocks, the tape, what Ruth had said, the bag at the bottom of the stairs. Rachel was quiet for a moment. Then, "I'm coming down." "Tom, you don't have to." "Tom, I'm coming down."
She arrived at 4 p.m. Tom had spent the intervening hours sitting on the front porch, not going back inside. When Rachel pulled up, she got out of her car and looked at the house, and her expression did what everyone's expression did when they saw it, that small, involuntary tightening around the eyes. "It looks like it's watching," she said. "Yeah," Tom said. They went inside together. The bag was still at the bottom of the stairs. The masking tape now read, "Now." Rachel looked at it for a long time. "Okay," she said. "Let's go." We haven't even... Tom, she turned to him. Let's go. He almost did. He was going to. He was already turning toward the door when they heard it. From behind the steel door at the end of the kitchen, a sound. Not a bang, not a scratch, not the kind of sound that horror movies use, some loud, dramatic noise designed to make you jump. Quieter than that, much worse than that. The sound of someone crying, softly, like a child who has been crying for a long time and has almost given up. Tom and Rachel stood in the kitchen doorway and listened. It went on for almost a minute. Then it stopped. Then, very clearly, in a voice that was not a child's voice, that was something wearing the memory of a child's voice, it said, "Please don't go. I've been waiting so long. I've been waiting since the Millers. Please don't go. I only need one of you to stay." The padlock on the steel door clicked open. The door swung inward, and from the basement that the county record said did not exist, warm yellow light spilled up into the kitchen. Rachel grabbed Tom's arm. He did not move. He told me later that he doesn't fully understand why he didn't run. Part of it was fear, the kind of fear that doesn't send you running but roots you to the floor, makes your legs go to concrete. But part of it, he admitted quietly, was something else, curiosity. I know how that sounds. I know. But that voice, whatever it was the saddest sound I've ever heard in my life. I've heard grief. I've been to funerals. I was with my mother when she died. And this was lonelier than any of that. This was something that had been alone for a very, very long time. Rachel was pulling at his arm. He let her pull him back 2 steps toward the front of the house. Then the light from the basement changed. It had been warm before, amber like an old incandescent bulb. Now it went blue, cold and blue, the color of something deep underwater, and in that light, the kitchen walls looked like the walls of somewhere else entirely, somewhere that wasn't a farmhouse in Kentucky, somewhere without geography. And up the stairs from the basement, slowly, came a figure. Tom tells me he can't fully describe it, not because he won't, he's willing to try, but because the figure was, as he puts it, not finished. It looked like something attempting to assemble itself from whatever impressions it had collected over decades, like it had watched the families who came and went and tried to construct from their memories something that looked enough like a person to be acceptable. It had the shape right, 2 arms, 2 legs, a head. The height was approximately right. The face was not right.
The face was... He pauses every time he gets here, takes a breath, then says, "It was like a face made out of other faces, like it had borrowed pieces, an eye from one person, a mouth from another, like something that had never had a face of its own and had done its best with what it found." It stood at the top of the basement stairs. It looked at Tom. It said in that worn-down child's voice, "The Millers couldn't stay. The Beauchamps couldn't stay. The Hendersons couldn't stay. Edith stayed. Edith understood. Edith fed me just enough." "What did Edith feed you?" Tom asked. Rachel made a sound next to him. The figure tilted its head. The borrowed face rearranged itself into something that was attempting a smile. "Memory," it said. "She let me have her memories, a little at a time, the ones she could spare. She said it was a fair trade, the house for the memories she didn't need anymore. I was careful with her. I only took the small ones, her 3rd grade teacher's name, the color of a car she owned in 1987, how a particular summer afternoon felt when she was 9 years old, sitting in the backyard of a house that no longer existed. And now Edith is gone," Tom said. "Now Edith is gone," the figure agreed, "and I'm very hungry, and you're here, both of you." It took 1 step forward, out of the basement doorway, into the kitchen. The blue light came with it. Tom told me that in that moment he understood something, not about what the thing was, he still doesn't fully know that, but about what it wanted.
It wasn't malicious exactly. It wasn't evil in the way horror movies portray evil. It was something much older and much simpler than that. It was hungry. It was alone. And it had been both of those things for a very, very long time. "We can't stay," Tom said. The figure's assembled face shifted. The borrowed eyes, one brown, one that pale, almost green you sometimes see, looked at him with something that Tom calls, with visible discomfort, the most human expression I've ever seen on something inhuman. Grief, pure and simple, the grief of something that has lost count of how many times it has been left. "I know," it said, and then it stepped back through the steel door, back down the basement stairs. The blue light receded. The warm yellow light returned briefly. Then that too went out. The steel door swung closed. Tom and Rachel ran. For the first hour, somewhere around Corbin, Rachel reached over and turned the radio on. Something normal, a pop song, the kind of song that has no weight and no memory, and they both breathed a little easier. Tom signed the house back to the county the following week. Abandoned property. Let them deal with it. He told the attorney there had been structural damage. He paid the small fee. He didn't explain anything. He moved back to Cincinnati, got a different job, slept fine for about 3 weeks. Then the dreams started. Not nightmares, not the figure with the borrowed face, just memories going missing. Small ones at first. The name of a teacher he'd had in 6th grade, the color of a bike he'd owned as a child, how a particular summer afternoon felt when he was 9 years old, sitting in the backyard of a house that no longer existed. He didn't connect it immediately. When he did, he called Ruth at the diner in Bledsoe. He'd kept her number. Ruth picked up. He explained what was happening. Silence on the line for a long time. Then Ruth said, "Tom, when you were in that kitchen, when the door opened, did you step over the threshold at all, even 1 foot?" Tom thought about it. He had. Just 1 step forward, toward Rachel, who had been pulling him back. Just 1 step, but over the threshold, into the kitchen, into the blue light. Ruth said quietly, "It doesn't need you to stay. It just needs a connection, a thread. And it's patient, Tom. Lord, it is patient. It's been patient since 1887. Tom asked what he should do. Ruth was quiet for a very long time. "I don't know," she said finally. "I don't think anyone knows. Edith figured out how to manage it, but Edith's gone, and whatever arrangement she had, that's done now." A pause. "How many memories have you lost?" Ruth asked. Tom thought about it. He couldn't remember the number. "I spoke to Tom 6 months ago. He's still in Cincinnati, still losing the small memories, slowly, steadily, like a slow leak in something you can't find to patch. He told me one more thing before we ended our call. He said that 2 weeks ago he'd been in his apartment, his new apartment, a 5th-floor unit in a building downtown, nowhere near Kentucky, nowhere near Miller's Creek, and he'd gone to the kitchen to get a glass of water. At the end of his kitchen, past the refrigerator, past the cabinet where he keeps the glasses, there is a wall. It has always been a wall. There is now a door. He has not opened it. He tells me he can see the light under it, warm, yellow, and at night when the apartment is quiet and the city outside is doing its quiet city things, he says he can hear it.